Welcome to another Smart Cards GED Test video tutorial. In this tutorial, you will learn about subtracting with and without regrouping. This tutorial corresponds to the mathematics content area on the GED test, and it's aligned with the quantitative problem solving assessment target. So let's go ahead and get started. In this tutorial, you're going to learn about subtracting whole numbers. We're going to be subtracting without regrouping, with regrouping, as well as across zeros. Regrouping is also more informally known as borrowing. Here's the process for subtracting whole numbers. We always rewrite a horizontal problem vertically, and this is to allow us to match the place values. We only subtract hundreds with hundreds, tens with tens, thousands with thousands. We always want to start subtracting in the ones place, and if necessary, we want to regroup or borrow from left to right from a populated place value, and we never, ever, ever regroup zeros, which we'll see much more about that later. 94 minus 72. Let's start subtracting in the ones place. We have 4 ones, which is enough to subtract 2 ones. So we get 4 minus 2 equals 2. Now let's move on to the tens place. We have 9 groups of 10, which is enough to subtract 7 groups of 10. So we get 9 minus 7 equals 2 for a final answer of 22. Okay, let's look at 94 minus 27, and we'll start subtracting in the ones place. We have 4 ones, which is not enough to subtract 7 ones. So let's regroup 94 to make the ones place large enough to subtract 7 ones. Let's go to the very next place value, which would be the tens place. And we'll borrow 1 group of 10 and add it to the ones place. When 1 group of tens is borrowed from 9 groups of 10, we are left with 8 groups of 10. When 1 group of 10 is added to 4 ones, we get 14 ones. So 94 goes to 8 tens and 14 ones. Now we have enough to subtract. 14 minus 7 equals 7, and 8 minus 2 equals 6 for a final answer of 67. 301 minus 34. Let's start subtracting in the ones place. 1 minus 4. We don't have enough ones, so let's borrow from the tens place. But because there are no tens, we must borrow from the hundreds place and regroup back to the ones place. In other words, when we borrow 1 from 3 in the hundreds place, 3 goes to 2. Take the 1 group of hundreds and add it to the tens place because hundreds look more like tens. So 0 plus 10 equals 10. Now the tens place is populated. This is the place value we must borrow from for the ones place. So let's do that. When we borrow 1 group of 10 from 10, we are left with 9 groups of 10. Let's take the 1 group of 10 that we borrowed and add it to the ones place to get 11 ones. We have successfully regrouped 301 to 2 hundreds, 9 tens, and 11 ones. Now we can subtract. 11 minus 4 is 7, 9 minus 3 is 6. Bring down the 2 for a final answer of 267. So we've just gone over 3 examples of subtraction of whole numbers. The first example was subtracting without regrouping. The second example was subtracting with regrouping. And the third illustration was subtracting with regrouping, yet across zeros. I have a couple of tidbits that will help to increase your success with subtraction. First, practice counting backwards. Addition is counting forwards. Subtraction is counting backwards. If you can count backwards, then you've already increased your level of success with subtraction. And lastly, always and only borrow from a populated place value. A populated place value is a place value that's populated with a digit other than 0. We do not borrow from 0, as example 3 illustrates. 47 minus 18. Let's start subtracting in the ones place. 7 minus 8. We don't have enough ones to do the subtraction, so let's borrow from the tens place. When we borrow one group of 10 from four groups of 10, we're left with three groups of 10. Let's take that one group of 10 and add it to the 7 ones to get 17 ones. 17 minus 8 leaves us with 9. 3 minus 1 leaves us with 2. We get a final answer of 29. 250 minus 192. Let's start subtracting in the ones place. 0 minus 2. We don't have enough ones, so we have to borrow from the tens place. When we borrow one group of 10 from five groups of 10, we're left with four groups of 10. Let's take that one group of 10 and add it to 0. 0 plus 10 gives us 10. 10 minus 2 leaves us with 8. Let's go on to the tens place. 4 minus 9. We don't have enough tens to do the subtraction. So let's go to the hundreds place and borrow one group of hundreds from two groups of hundreds. When we borrow one group of hundreds from two groups of hundreds, we're left with one group of hundreds. Let's take that one group of hundreds and add it to the four tens to get 14. 14 minus 9 leaves us with 5. 1 minus 1 leaves us with 0. We get a final answer of 58. 9,273 minus 6,142. Let's start subtracting in the ones place. 3 minus 2 leaves us with 1. 7 minus 4 leaves us with 3. 2 minus 1 leaves us with 1. 9 minus 6 leaves us with 3. We get a final answer of 3,131. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for a new tutorial next week. And if you're new to the Smart Cards YouTube channel, click the subscribe button.